With the TV becoming more ingrained in our children's daily lives, are we letting them watch the right things? What should parents be letting their children watch on TV, and at what age should they start giving them the independence to make their own choices? The Kids Coach Jennifer Pollard is with me now. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning, Paul.
Obviously, what you don't do is use the television just as a nanny.
Absolutely. Yep. So children under 2 years old, the recommendation is for them not to be exposed to TV and digital content at all.
Okay, that's just, so if your child is under two, the experts say they should not be watching any television or digital. Why is that?
Well, they're developing a lot of social learning skills. They're just not ready for that fast-paced imagery and the light and the changes. They can't move themselves out of the way necessarily. And so the focus is really on the content from sort of 2 years old and above. So we would like to break it down into preschool, so 2 to 5 year olds.
Okay.
The content and the quality of programming dedicated for that age range is actually really good quality stuff generally. It's designed to promote literacy, numeracy, development of social skills.
And stimulate them.
Stimulate them, yeah. The recommendation is definitely for them to have no more than 1 hour, and that's across all screens. So you're not talking about a lot of television viewing here.
So 1 hour in a 24-hour period, and this is for children between 2 and 8.
Between 2 and 8, yeah. Between 2 and 5, 2 and 8. So primary school kids, they can have a little bit more screen time. So we're not just talking about television. When we talk about that, that's across all the different technologies that they may be using. So it's not 2 hours of television and then 2 hours on the computer and 2 hours on the iPad.
And sadly, that also includes the phone now too, because I mean, unfortunately, at the upper end of that age group, they're already using smartphones and things like that.
Yeah. So for preschool, there's heaps of good content out there. You've got Sesame Street and all the classics like Dora, Bob, Thomas, those kinds of things that parents generally are exposing their children to. And they can feel, relatively good about that. The kids are getting positive role models. The messages coming through are fairly positive. And there is a learning context. The things that they might want to watch out for is mainly like bratty or rude behavior, that kind of thing. Those are the things that they might
So you should still be choosing those programs for them between 2 and 8. And obviously to a lesser extent as they're getting towards the upper end of that.
I think it starts to become more tricky once the content for primary school age, even though it's cartoons, there's a massive jump from educational-based content to more entertainment-based.
Straight entertainment, which can be sort of violent. There can be themes in there which are not great.
A lot of there's a huge jump in the amount of violence, the amount of questionable language, behavior, role models. So it becomes more difficult to make a blanket recommendation. You have to know your child. You have to look at your child's behavior and how those programs are affecting them. My boys were very vocal about this, 7 and 10. They were very worried I'm going to come on here and say, don't let your kids watch this, that, and the other.
When do you hand a child a remote and basically give them responsibility?
I think that we need to be having active conversations with our children once they're watching television right through, start helping them to critically evaluate. And as they grow and develop in maturity and age, we start, allowing them to have more of an input into what's being put on the television. Of course, we're going to want to align that with our family's values, our child's digital technology threshold, which I'd love to come back and talk about, because that's just being exposed to digital media, regardless of the content.
Brilliant. Jennifer, thank you very much. And we will talk more about this at a future time, because it is important, because the time they spend, in front of the television or the computer or something like that, that's called life. Jennifer, thank you very much for joining us. And that's it for today.